Last time on Final Fantasy II, after an incredibly long journey, we finally managed to obtain the Ultima tome. However, in order to finally get our hands on it, Minwu had to give his life to laser a door down. It was metal as hell, but unfortunately we're going to have to go back to Fynn and report his loss. Thankfully it's not too long a journey, so we can get there easy enough. Is it just me or is something wrong with Altair? It looks kind of weird. And the heck is this? These are definitely not the old enemies that were here. Before we were fighting goblins and bees and whatever the hell the weird tiny things were. I don't even remember their names now, but these guys are way different. I mean, they're relatively tough. By this point, they're not too bad, thankfully, but nonetheless, it's just weird to be seeing them here. And that takes care of that, but we gotta see what's going on in Altair. We get some mithril armor, which is nice, but we can't even enter. What the heck happened here? We better go upriver and see what's going on, because that's a little weird. Did they torch it? Who knows? Oh boy, sorcerers and sergeants. By the way, remember when I said that mage enemies were really annoying? Yeah, this is around the point where they get annoying, because they appear in large groups, and although they're not the strongest enemies, they can get off quite a few spells, and they can be very annoying. Thankfully we got a preemptive strike, so removing them, not too difficult, and of course they are frail, and this guy decided to use fire, which was possibly the least effective thing he could have used against us, really. So that takes care of him. Let's go find that other town that we only ever went to once. That is some nice equipment. I think it was around here somewhere. I kind of forget. Okay, it's to our north a bit. So it was right... Well, was the correct word. This town's destroyed too. Fynn seems to be okay, but what the heck is going on here? Is that a tornado? So let me get this straight. Now the weather hates us. Oh, that's great. So yes, apparently the Emperor summoned a cyclone, and it has destroyed basically every town in the game. Like everything other than Fynn and Mysidia, and maybe Salamand? I don't think I've ever bothered checking whether or not that town was, still standing, but yeah, that's the real reason that Mysidia had all that magic. Because now every town with magic has pretty much been decimated, and... Where the hell did you come from? What do you mean you thought we had died? You had to swim all the way back here. Oh, whatever, I'm not even going to question it. There are more important things to worry about. So yes, the Emperor has basically destroyed the entire planet. He's just destroyed every last town that's under our control, and possibly ones that aren't under our control. He's just pretty much wrecking everything. Yeah, not really gonna do us much good. I don't think it's gonna work on winds, but I don't know, we could try. Saying something about sprouting winds, but what about the wyverns? He doesn't have anything to say about that, but... if only we had a wyvern, but the last one died and the other one's an egg. Is that so? Well, coincidentally, we do have a pendant. If you'll remember, we grabbed that because we needed to speak to the final wyvern, so we do have it in our inventory, so let's just see about finding this mirror. I believe it is over on the west end of the castle. We had to climb these stairs. When we were raiding this castle and taking all the treasures, we didn't enter the mirror room, but it's easy enough to get to. It's right through here. Yes, it is a very nice mirror, but we can't marvel at its beauty. Even if it is a very nice mirror, I gotta get me one of these. Let's see, pendant. So yes, that wyvern egg has already hatched, and while the wyvern isn't actually, a fully grown wyvern, it's still big enough where it can support the weight of 4 people. It's been like a week since we did this. Seriously, how did it grow that fast? Hooray! Now Rickard's got a dragon buddy. So yes, it's going to wait by the cyclone, so we actually have to approach the cyclone in order to get onto it. That seems pretty stupid, but whatever. There's actually one more order of business before we go to the cyclone, though. We have to go back to town and give a visit to everyone's favorite thief, because he does actually have something good for us. We cannot literally punch the cyclone. Sad as it is, we can't actually fight it, but we can go inside it because there's a dungeon in it. But before we go, Paul's actually got some very good items for us. So we definitely want to do this because very, very important weapon we have to grab here. Well, we don't have to grab it, but it would help a lot. Not all of this equipment is the best. We got a few of these things, but this is what we want to come in here for. The blood sword is very, very good. Now, like in other games, it drains HP. However, it does work a little bit differently. If we go and equip this on Rickard, you see his attack goes way down. You might be thinking, well, that's pretty terrible. But the thing about the blood sword is, it's basically a drain spell that always works. It will do a certain percentage of the enemy's max HP. Now, that's not that amazing for all enemies, but the thing is, enemies from this point onward have quite a bit of HP, and as such, draining their HP can actually do a lot of damage, and it pretty much ignores their defense, so we don't actually have to worry about that. If there's a high defensive enemy with a lot of HP, Blood Sword is very good for that because, it doesn't need to be Berserk, you just do a lot of damage with it. So Rickard's going to be carrying that, and I'll give the reason for that later. You could equip that with a Masamune on Firion, because that is pretty helpful, but again, I'll give my explanation for that later. For now, it's time for the final battle with the Emperor.